How did I fall in love with the Dodge Charger? Because at the time I think I was into like imports, Hondas, the Mitsubishi Lancer, uh, the Subaru Impreza, like those things was like the cars to me. I mean, a Skyline. Those are the only things that had fascinated me at the time because I was all into, Fast and the Furious did have an effect on everybody back then. But then it was one day after watching that movie, I was like, yo, what kind of car was that? And I didn't question it no more. Like I just thought about it. I was like, that was one cool looking car. And then one day I was sitting at home, and this is around like 2006, 2007. I saw a commercial for the Dodge Magnum, and yo, just the sound that came out of that car, like it had me like, yo, like I need to know more about this car. It looks just like the car I saw in the movie. And then we moved to New York. My father had a Magnum sitting in his body shop, but it wasn't his Magnum. It was actually a customer's Magnum, and he was explaining to me that the customer hadn't come and checked on the Magnum for like weeks, and he has a policy, that there's a storage fee for keeping your vehicle in there in his shop if it was being repaired. And if it wasn't being repaired on yet, but they were waiting for the confirmation from the insurance company, there would be a charge, a storage charge. So whatever, my father hadn't heard from the client in weeks. And I remember I was like on his case about it, like, yo, have you heard from them yet or anything? And he was like, no, nothing yet. And I mean, at the end, the client did, he did get in contact with the client, and the car was repaired and he returned it. But the car never left my mind. So moved back down to Florida, and this car is like in my head.
Control the mastermind, breeze right past your phone.
And then I remember seeing the Fast and Furious movie when they were the one that where they were in Brazil and they pulled out the bank vault using the Dodge Charger. I was like, yo, this is the car. Like, this is the car. And I've always had this thing in my head, like, I got siblings. I'm the older brother. And then I also got like my wife and my daughter. And I'm always thinking in my head, like, yo, if there's any emergency, I gotta have enough space in my car to, or take my family with me. And the Charger I've always felt has always been that car. After seeing it from Fast and Furious, oh my God, this car's a beast, monster. You know what I mean? And one day, mind you, this is like in 2013, 2014. My wife calls me up and she's telling me, listen, I need you to do me a favor. And I'm asking her, what's the favor? And she tells me, our car is having issues. And at the time we was driving a Mitsubishi Eclipse, a 2001 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT. And that car has been, we drove it to New York and drove it back. And the car was giving us issues, all types of issues. My wife replaced the radiator. My wife is very skillful like that. I helped her replace the radiator. We've done all types of things to the car. We've gotten mechanics to work on the car, and the car wasn't just getting any. It wasn't getting better. So one day she's on her way to work, and the car breaks down on her, and this is when she calls me. She says, "I need a favor from you. The car broke down, but I just need a favor from you. I need your social because I'm at a dealership right now. See if they can give me a deal on getting a vehicle." So I'm like, "You sure you want to do that?" She's like, "Yeah, because we have no choice." I'm like, "Okay, fine." I'm like, "But I don't think we're gonna get any vehicles, especially with our credit, especially my credit." I'm like, "My credit is bad. I don't think so." So whatever. I give her my social, and she's like, "Okay, can just hold on a sec. Let me talk to the people in the office." Blah blah blah. So I waited a few minutes. Then she comes back on. She's like, "Can you get dressed? We're gonna come and get you." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I get dressed and I'm waiting, and then there's a knock on the front door, and it's my wife. And she's like, "Let's go." So I'm like, "Okay, where's our car?" And she's like, "I'll explain everything to you when we get to the dealership." And so I was like, "Okay." And I walked outside. I see this silver Dodge Charger SE. At the time, I didn't know it was an SE. But I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my God. What are you doing with this car? Like, how'd you get this car?" And she's basically telling me, "Don't worry about it. Trust me. We're going to talk. Let's just go to the dealership." So we get to the dealership, and they're talking numbers to us. And I'm telling them, like, "Yo, listen, you guys can say what you want. All this stuff. I don't mean to sound like a downer, but I don't have good enough credit to get this car. All right. And I'm going to be honest with you. And I think that we're really wasting our time." And the lady's like, "Jay, hold on. We already ran your credit. We ran your wife's credit also, and you guys are approved for the vehicle." I'm like, "You serious?" And they're like, "Yes." So I'm like, "Nah, you guys are not playing, right? Because like this is something like you're really playing with my emotions when you say something like." And they're like, "Yeah, it's your car." And I'm like, "No way!" Like disbelief. So whatever. We get in the car. I asked them what happened to the Eclipse. They told me the Eclipse was badly damaged. It was leaking oil, and my wife had showed me the spot where the car like broke down at, and there was like oil all over the road. And they gave my wife a deal, and they offered her $8,000 for that broken down Eclipse. So we were like, "Yo, you guys are really trying to get a sell out of us." So whatever. We end up getting the car. I was in complete shock. I didn't know what to say. All I did was get into the car and just drove. I dropped my I dropped my wife off at work, and I decided to take the car out for a spin. And I drove from Miami-Dade to Broward, just enjoying the car, going to my like family's house, like, "Yo, look, especially because, we're not the kind of people, like, especially like my wife and I, we've never been the kind of people to actually like get good things like that. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, we have our health and we do have like our life and a home, but like, a nice car, we've always gotten like, pre-owned vehicles, and that was it. They would probably last us like maybe like max 5 years, and that the car's gone, and then now it's time to get a new car. But this time we got a car with 0 miles on it, a brand new car, the car I've always wanted, and I couldn't believe it. Well, as of last year, and mind you, that was in 2014. As of last year, my wife and daughter got into a car accident in that car. Not their fault. It was actually, let's just say, the place where we took the car, where we bought the car from, and would get the car maintenance. Like they would do the maintenance work on the car. we would continuously go back and have the car get oil change and everything else that the car would need, and we would also bring the car into them. Nobody else, just them, to do any and every work that needed to be done with the car, especially because the car was under warranty still. We explained we want to change the brakes, and they they claimed they did that, and but there would always be like a funny sound, or the car wouldn't brake completely, and we had to take it to them like maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure, but we had to take it to them. And the last time we took it to them, we drove off the lot after they got through saying that they repaired everything in the car, and they guaranteed us that the car was fixed. Probably like a week or 2 weeks later, my wife is driving an express with my daughter, and mind you, it's raining. My wife is a granny driver. My wife does not speed. So she's driving and she hits the brakes because I guess she said, like, she explained how while she was driving, she noticed that there was one car in front of her, and she usually doesn't get close to like other vehicles, but especially when it's raining, she tends to stay far. So she explained how she just tapped the brake, and the pedal just locked. The ABS light came on. And mind you, this ABS light would cut on every once in a while we're driving. We didn't know for what. We even explained that to the dealer, and they told us, "Oh no, it might be some malfunction." Blah, blah, blah. When we took it in, they said the problem was fixed 3 times. So whatever, the ABS lights came on. The brakes. She explained the brakes locked, and the car spun. The car spun full 360. She hits the wall on the expressway, bang, bounces off, spins, taps a car in front of her, and then hits the wall again, and the car completely stopped looking in the opposite direction. So I'm home sleeping. For some reason, something just woke me up, and my phone was on dead silence, because usually on the weekends before, I used to always keep my phone on silence because I kept on getting phone calls from all types of people, bill collectors, everything. So whatever. This time I pick it up, and it's my boy. He's like, "Yo, Jay, where are you?" I'm like, I'm at home sleeping. He's like, "Yo, your wife and daughter was in a car accident." Like, the level of panic that rose is like unexplainable. You know what I mean? I just told him, "Yo, just come and get me, please." He got me. We sped to the expressway. We got to where they were, and all I saw was my wife and my daughter crying. And I was like, thank you, God, like, they were okay. The car was damaged. But they were okay. That's all that mattered to me. You know what I mean? To me, the car did it did its job. It did what it was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Kept them safe in the cabin. The exterior of the car had damages on it. You know what I mean? The grill was pushed back. The front bumper destroyed. The right rear fender destroyed. The back bumper destroyed. You know what I mean? It was like all messed up all around, but they were okay. And like, that's all I could ask for. You know what I mean? And one of the saddest things was, listening to my daughter explain how our car is, destroyed. And I'm looking at her like, how could that be your main focus? You know what I mean? Like, you guys are okay. You know what I mean? The car is a car, but you guys are okay. And she's like, yeah, but that was your car. And I'm like, yeah, but you're my daughter, and you and your mom were in the car. You guys are more important. The car did what it had to, but whatever. So whatever, insurance gets involved, all types of stuff happens. The insurance rejects. They reject the repairs. It came out to about $4,000 and some change to repair the car, and they rejected it. So now we're out of a vehicle. We were renting a car for at least, I think, like 3 months, and we spent almost nearly $5,000 in that time frame in rentals. So now we're down to our last couple, maybe like 2 to 3 thousand, and we're like, yo, we got to get ourselves a car, or this money's gonna go, it's gonna be blown, and we're gonna be out of a vehicle. So we decide to go to a used car dealership, and we get there. In my head, I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna get my wife a nice little hoopty or something, you know what I mean, something so she can move around. The last car was mine. So this time she got to get herself a car. So we're there, we're at the dealership, we're looking for a car for her. And my wife points out the first car she's pointing out, it was to a Challenger. And I'm looking at her like, cool, why would you want a Challenger? Like, but whatever. So, she's like, I don't know. I mean, if it's cheap, you can get it. And I'm like, whatever. So we're looking around. I'm like, yo, so what about this Kia? What about, this, I don't know what was looking, this Ford Focus, trying to tell her to just grab something for now. You know what I mean? Nothing major or whatever. And we're walking through the dealer, and as we walk, I just caught it, like, as we're walking by, I caught it with my peripheral. You know what I mean? And it was a Charger. It was two Chargers. It was one that was like this royal blue color. I'm not sure what kind of blue it was. And there was mine. There was another one in the back of it, and they were facing opposite from each other, whatever. But the blue one that I noticed first had like black pinstripes on it, and I'm like, nah, I like my car very low key. I don't like no attention, anything like that. And I'm like, yo, that Charger's fire, blah, blah, blah. And the salesman looks at me and he's like, you like it? And I'm like, yeah, but nah, I'm staying away from that. We're here for my wife. And I turn my head, walk, and as I'm walking, I see another Charger. I'm like, okay, look, I'm not here to get in a car for me. I just want to know, how much is that Charger? And the dude is like, yo, if I could get you a good deal, would you take it? I'm like, nah. Listen, I just want to know the price. My wife, this is for her. The car we're trying to get, blah, blah, blah. And my wife is like trying to talk to me. And I'm like, all right, forget. I don't want, you know what? I only want to know the price. Just leave it alone. And my wife is like, she's trying to talk to me. I'm like, okay, you ain't got to say nothing. I know it's too expensive. We've already had a Charger. Let's not get back into. I was like so much in pain. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, yo, just leave it alone. Forget it. So the guy goes inside. He goes get like some keys for some other car that I had helped my wife pick out, and we're standing outside waiting for the guy to get the car. And then my wife tries to talk to me. I'm like, look, you don't have to say nothing to me. Just leave it alone. I don't want to talk about it. The more I think about this car, the more it hurts me. So just leave it alone. To me, the main important thing, you and Ali, you and like I was telling her, you and our daughter is still here. That's all that's important to me. And she was like, if you would just stop talking and let me say something, you would understand that I want to get the Charger. And I'm like, what? She's like, I want to get the Charger. Bro, like, I literally wanted to kick myself in the mouth. And she's like, that's what we've been trying to tell you. My daughter and her is like, yes. And they're like, yo, if we have the opportunity to get this car now, why don't you get it? Because we had the SE model before, and this one is a 2016 RT. And mind you, like, I love the RT. I mean, I love the SRT and I love the Hellcat and all that stuff, but I love the RT, especially because I can afford it. And it's very low key. And she's like, why don't you just get it now? And I'm like, you serious? And then she's like, yes. I'm like, bro. So whatever, the salesman comes out and she's like, look, can you get the keys for the RT, the Charger instead? And I'm like, no way. So whatever, the guy's like, you guys want the Charger? And he's like, all happy and shit, because, he's about, all happy and stuff. Because, he's about to get like a bonus, I think, for that car, for selling that car. So whatever, he runs inside, he gets the keys, and he brings the car out, and this car looks gorgeous. Like, oh my God. Oh man, so whatever. I'm about to get in the passenger side. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, yo, you're taking this car out for a test drive. You're driving it. And I'm like, me? And he's like, yeah. And he gives me the keys, get in the car, sit down, and I'm in the cabin looking around like, oh man. I'm touching the dashboard, the 8-inch screen. I'm like, oh my God, the steering wheel with the paddles. I'm like, oh man. So whatever. And the dude is like, I'm gonna show you a place where you could drive the car. You know, we're gonna take it away from all this traffic. We'll bring it to like, you know, somewhere very low key, whatever. So we drive into this low key spot and he's like, stop right here. And he's like, yo, so we wanna find any coughs or hiccups in the car. So do what you do. And I'm like, what do you mean do what I do? Test drive the car. I'm like, bro, when I test drive, I push the car. And he's like, go ahead. Yo. So I look in the rear view and I'm looking back at my wife and daughter, and my wife puts on the seatbelt. My daughter puts on the seatbelt. My daughter goes, yo, I'm like, okay. Yo, so I just like, I floored it. The car takes off. And like, yo, I'm pushing it. Like this car is like, I feel it. Like the way I'm pushed back into the seat, and you know, I'm feeling that Hemi power. And then as I'm going, you know, I noticed the guy's like gripping, you know, like the I guess the handle that's inside the car. He's gripping it or whatever. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo. And then, you know, we're about to reach up to a stop sign, and he's like, yo, hit the brake. And I hit it. The car, and then dude is like, you know, you can see him like, you know, he's all like out of breath and shit, like, so whatever. My daughter goes, yo, this is your car. Yo, so whatever. We drive back to the dealer, and I'm filled with so much adrenaline. My hands are like shaking, you know, because I'm like, oh my God, this car. Gotta have this car. And we get back to the dealer. We sat down, we talked numbers, and the guy comes out and he's looking at me smiling. I'm like, he's like, yo, trust me. And I'm like, I told my wife, listen, don't be surprised if they tell us no, because our credit's not all that great. We've already tried to get the RT before, twice already, so I'm not gonna get all excited for nothing. So the guy is like, yo, it's your car. And I'm like, right, okay, sure. So, and he's like, yo, what's your problem? I'm like, listen, no disrespect. I'm not trying to sound like a downer. Been here before. I'm not trying to get hype. We got the SE the first time, and I was like off of like some miracle. All right. And we tried to get we got the SE before off of some miracle. And now to get this RT is going to be another miracle because of the fact that I tried to get this car twice before and I was rejected twice. So I'm not surprised if I get rejected again. Just know by the end of that afternoon, the keys were placed in my hand. I was in disbelief. I sat in the car and drove off the lot. And I'm sitting in this car like, yo, like, this is my car. This is my car. I own a 2016 Dodge Charger RT. Bro, incredible. And I have like pictures of like RTs like all in my phone like from before, and like just I you know, I can't go back to any other car. You know what I mean? I really can't. This is the car. This is my car. This is the car I'm stuck with. I can't see myself driving something else. You know what I mean? From the SE to my wife and daughter getting into a car accident, being safe in that car, and then now to being back in another Charger. Yeah. Charger for life. Ooh.